Hello everyone, I'm very happy to be with you today. My name is Magdala Ramirez Garcia, and today we're going to be talking about how to reach yourself. This has been in the air in a big deal because of this wave that we are, energy wave that we are. We are in the wave of Nick Kixley still, and it has to do with that underworld and this upper world. It has to do with the things that we let it go. So I am here with my sister Teddy, that we have been in a big ceremonies the whole weekend. So it has been intense and powerful, and many messages about how to reach yourself. You see, the new world, it is here. It has always been here, but this time you have an opportunity to reach it. You have an opportunity to match the energy, match the vibration of this new world. And that is what we call that reaching yourself. Like there is a part of you that it is able to recognize the new world. This new world, what is it and what is the thing that we need to match? Well, as you know, we do live in a world of oneness. And people likes to talk a lot about this, and yet what is the changes that you need to do in order to get there? You know, in this new world, everything is so transparent. Can you be transparent? In this new world, the sharing of the information, it is total and absolute. Can you share who you are? Can you listen and see and feel, really see people around you, not through your projections, but to really see them as they are and what is going on. The new world is about how do we relate with each other. Human being is a peaceful being by nature. Can you reach peace? Can you be at peace and understand peace as your way of living? The new world, it's about how we relate with the environment. Do you realize that you are nature and that the next octaves, it is always being provided by that beautiful energy of this beautiful planet where you live into it, and not wanting to destroy the planet just because of it? The new world is about all the tribes everywhere in the world. Can you relate with different races and not judge them and respect each other? So there are many changes in many situations of there is a part of you that it is already there. You see, the Christ talk about this new world. Like he called it the kingdom of heaven. He always said it's at hand. He never said you need to die and go into it. That was a creation from the lower consciousness about it, judging it. For the ancestors, they call it the world of the enchanted flower. The place where you get your wisdom. The place where you understand who you are for real. So there is a lot of sacrifices to be done. You know, the word sacrifices, that's part of that underworld that it is in this wave. You know, that place inside of you that you're so afraid of everything. Even when it is really nonsense, those fears, and still people struggle to relate with those little fears about being and about who you are about that. You know, people likes to be slave of a system. When I was a teenager, I was really only a teenager. I was fighting against the system, against the government, until I had my first initiation. And my first initiation was recognizing that the system was inside of you. That the same thing that I wanted to liberate the people, it was really inside of you. So it wasn't about go and fight with the system. The system is not to blame. It is actually inside of you, the things that you need to overcome. So what is the thing that you need to overcome? Is about sacrificing. This time you're going to sacrifice your ego. And that has to do with your spiritual work, making the changes, making the movements, making that spiritual work that you have avoiding for such a long time. This part of you that wants to talk about it but not do it. You need to walk your talk. Overcome whatever you need to overcome because of the love that you are. Because you love so much your children, your husband, your friends, your parents, or whatever it is that you love so much. You need to overcome your own ego that separates you, that it makes you so afraid of love. We were talking this weekend about so many tribes everywhere in the world and the ceremonies that each one of the people do everywhere in the world. Yet there is a lot of judgment about it. People likes to judge something that they don't understand. People likes to think like we need to fight for our way of living without realizing it, that destroying somebody else's way of living and being unrespectful about it only hook you into that ego. Sacrificing and understanding what other people are willing to do to move all these fears, that the bottom line of those fears is about love, because the journey that you have in this one is about love. So reaching yourself, it has been very, very powerful. Teddy, what do you feel about this?
Well, so one of the things that comes up is that, to me, it's kind of like a paradox between thinking that like the real truth about everything is one, and but it's not your perception until you're able to not project your stuff onto someone else. So it's kind of a interesting, parallel that, or paradox, I guess, that the way that you really see that you're all one is to see each person as their individual self, not the part that comes from you in judging them. It was the one thing. And then the other thing is that, uh, the sacrifice that the ones that are done through the spiritual work are the ones that strengthen your connection, to the Great Mother, to these parts in yourself that actually make you stronger. But as in the system, it seems like it's about just going and fighting somebody else and sacrificing, taking away from them, but you're still not gaining anything. It's not gaining anything because it's a never ending battle, where as if you sacrifice for that connection that you have to make it have the meaning, to really see it clearly, then that's that battle is really the one worth fighting.
You know, you are in a journey of love. Everything is about love. You have always been life. So you come into this realm choosing your parents that it will provide in some way all these lessons that you will have about love. How much you understand of love is your treasure. It is really your treasure. It's the only thing that you have. It's not about accumulating money or perpetuating the patriarchal system. It is very much about how you are able to see yourself as love. And when I see this in people working on it so much, that idea that you don't need to be a beggar of love, you don't need to be afraid of love, you don't need to be afraid of everything that it is related with love. It brings that understanding and that purity of who you are, that innocence, willing to love no matter what, overcoming every single separation, every fear. That beautiful understanding about this. One of the ancient teachings of the tribe was about, you know, the women understand that incredible unconditional love at the moment that they become mothers, because that divinity wakes in them. It's like this incredible connection that you have with your children, that willing to die for your children, that understanding of knowing where your children are, what is going on with them. And you just know, as a mother, it is completely divine. What it makes you a mother, it is the great mother. And you become that great mother. I mean, you see other children as your own. You want to protect them no matter what. You become that. But you see, you're not only a mother, you are also the woman aspect. And that woman aspect is the one that it has been so wounded by the system. There is so much interactions and hurts that it has to do with that people wants to shield themselves with their children too. And just to avoid to look into the woman aspect. For the men it's a very different story. Men get enlightened through the women aspect, that feminine side of them too, the way that they relate with their heart, the way that they embrace their own heart. Women are there to enlighten. Feminine side, it is the one that actually make the action of enlightenment, because that is the Holy Spirit within your own self. Doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. So when he is able to love in that completely entrega, in that completely devotion about this, is when he received that Holy Spirit within himself and willing to stand up in his truth. But you see, that energy, it is also in the women aspect. Willing to stand up in your truth. Working with women this weekend, and women complaining so much about the masculine, it has been a big journey and a big teachings about what it means to be feminine. What it is, that femininity, that it is in motion. And femininity, it is really not about the weak gender or doing your nails. People think about that and it's so ridiculous, because we are so much more than that. I was remembering when we were in Mexico, and have a gathering with the elders in the pyramids in Yucatan. The elders were telling me, you need to give birth to new men, to the true men. We are so few. You need to do this because we are so few, we cannot hold it. All this, we need more. The man represents the manifestation. And that manifestation has to do with the application that you have as a woman. And I'm directing this conversation to the women aspect. Not to be afraid to be you. Not to be afraid to hold on into your truth. You see, that fear is your own ego. That is fear is the one that it needs to be sacrificed. And understanding that holding on to your truth and be real, be transparent. It is bringing that application, what you know, bringing as a way of living. That is what it means giving birth to the new men, to the true men. You are, as a human being, you are that divine feminine. And in order to manifest that divine feminine, you come into that divine masculine too. So it is for the men. In order to be that true man, that divine masculine, it is imperative to embrace that divine feminine inside of themselves. The union of polarities, it is the first door to enter into this realm that we are. And it is about the understanding of love and manifesting this love that you are. As we have been talking in the radio talk, yeah, love has many directions, many ways, yet it comes from the same source. How do you relate with love? Are you perpetuating the script that the patriarchal system tells you? Okay, you're a mother. This is your rules and regulations. Okay, you're a daughter. This is your rules and regulations. You're a wife. This is your rules and regulations. Instead of finding a true meaning in all the relations inside of you, and that true meaning is understanding that you are love. So it has been a big deal for many people to even do the spiritual work. They avoid it at all costs because they have a lot of justification in the mind. And then they complain about the masculine instead of seeing themselves too. Like, okay, you want a true man? Are you a true man? No. Well, why you want something that you cannot even reach, The same thing goes for the men, Do you follow your heart? That woman that you love so much and you're afraid of it. You're so afraid. What is it that it will take the human being to overcome that ego? What is it that the people are creating, thinking that that's the only way to overcome that ego? It's so hard. So spiritual work, it is there for you. You are in that realm of spiritual work. I mean, you come into this realm to make your spiritual work, not to follow the rules of the patriarchal system, not to follow the rules of what they tell you that you're supposed to be, but embracing exactly who you are. Why do you think people is so afraid to actually do this spiritual work, Teddy? What do you feel about that?
Well, a couple of things I think is, well, one of the things is like just laziness and not prioritizing it.
I think it's entitlement too. Yeah.
Yeah. And right, not making, not thinking it's a priority. Um, the other is not fearing what they're going to find. One is fearing what they are finding, and that also that the more that you break it and do it and discover, the less you realize how much you have gone, with the system. And part of it is breaking that connection with the system that says it's the more spiritual work you do, the harder it is to just go back and be, to exist in the system without, you there's because there's that part of you that's not that anymore, and it does take you away. So yeah, so those are some of the things I think.
Yeah. I think people take themselves for granted. And because they take themselves for granted, you take everything for granted. That's the entitlement situation. I mean, the entitlement of you think that, well, I don't mean you personally, but I'm saying, what is going on in the world is like, let's destroy planet Earth just because you can, and that it is inside of the people, taking everybody for granted. We can only show the way, but nobody can do your work. The way that you get into reaching yourself, it has been about that alignment with the one that created you. And only you can do this. You have been programmed that somebody else is going to connect for you, like a priest. The programming is, of course, is a man too. Instead of realizing it, that you have access directly with the one that created you. Nobody needs to connect you. You need to learn how to trust yourself, because in the system they tell you that you cannot trust yourself. You need to overcome that ego and be brave and trust yourself. You need to overcome so many of things that it is stopping you. And it is different for every tribe. It is different. How do we grow up? What it is really important in your life? What is your priorities? Your priorities is making your spiritual work, because you need you in your life. If you don't have you don't have nobody, because you're faking it. You need to be you. You need to reach you. And every time that you overcome one thing, it is the next step of the pyramid. You are able to see all these incredible new possibilities for you, because you're changing the perception of reality. Well, I hope this works for you. Remember that we have a school online where we are deep into spiritual work. Right now we have different courses that people is really working so much in such a beautiful things, and it has been quite a journey. For more information, you can go to my website, magdalas.com. That is MAGDALAS.com. And we have the app, Messages from the Great Mother, who she will tell you so many synchronicities in your life, receiving a message every day. This is your time. Nobody can do the work for you. How that one is going to be, it is up to you. Choose. You're choosing every moment, every time that you choose. You're creating and you're bounded by your creations. What you're gonna choose? Perpetuating the patriarchal system because that's the thing that you think that it is through your fears, or embracing this new beautiful world that it is at hand. It's up to you. I am you. If you're listening to me, it's because there is a voice inside of you already there. I am you, and I can feel you inside of me. Do you recognize me? Because I do recognize you. Thank you for your work. Tlatzocomate, tlatzocomate, tlatzocomate.